jaw broke by a lifer.
See me, I must have this you know, in your head, you have this image of yourself. When I was in the streets, I just thought I was gangster. Like, even though I'm tall with glasses and that, I was big, but like people didn't have the same image that I had of myself, you know? And so anyway, I'm in prison, Wormwood Scrubs at the time. I was arrested for a crime I didn't commit, people. I'm telling you, I did not commit this crime. But when you're in the life, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. You just look at your criminal history, look at the crime, and then like, yep, you did it. Go and prove your innocence, you know? It's another part of the life that you just got to be so careful of, you know? Because being in jail for something you didn't do that 6 months was the hardest time in my life. Because you don't know if you're going to get 20 years, you don't know if you're going to get thingy, and like, oh, anyway. So I'm in jail for a robbery, didn't do it, and I'm smoking loads of ash. Everyone knows me in jail, I'm the weed man. I will either get drugs in on visits or I will buy drugs off someone. But one of the two's happening, you know? I don't smoke spice, I don't take heroin, I don't take sleeping tablets, I don't take anything other than weed. I don't even drink prison hooch. I don't smoke burn even. So I need my weed, people. So I'm getting it off some guy. Yeah, he's a lifer at the time, and lifers have a lot of extra perks and blah blah, you know. And it's easy for them to get out of prison. But he'd been recalled to prison because he was a lifer, and when you're a lifer, you always, forever, got a life license. So he's kind of a big guy, but I'm bigger than him. It's kind of an old guy, but I'm not like the man, but I'm cool with everyone. I'm hyped up in that, you know. So I'm buying ash of him, and then it just got normal. The pattern was normal. So when he said he had more ash, I'm like, cool. I send the money to your account. I go to my cell, make a phone call, and get the money to his account. Normally, I'll come out after dinner or lunch, whenever you put the money in, and then they come and give you the ash. It was just a business, you know. But for this time, it was being a bit different with me. Everything was being a bit long, and oh yeah, I sold the last bit because you didn't put the money in when you said, and then he took it, and something's coming, blah blah blah. Okay, I know what it's like in prison. I've still got a couple of joints left anyway, so I'm okay. Now it's 2 days past and like nothing's happening. Now I'm starting to think like, what the hell? I'm like, you know what? Send back my money. When you get the ash, we'll do it again. He's like, yeah. And like a bit about dinner time, it was. I must have went up to him again because I'm thinking, have you sent that money back? And the SO literally walked up to him in front of me and be like, yep, you're going tomorrow. Get your ship out. Make sure your stuff packed for the morning. Now I'm looking at him and he's looking at me like he's been caught. And I'm like, you're going, yeah? And he's like, yeah. But now he's trying to like talk his way out of it. He's like, don't worry, I've got a mobile phone. I'll give you that if I can't sort the ash out. I'm like, well, when was you going to tell me this? What, you know, sort of thing. And lifers, why you can trust a lifer more in prison than a normal person is because lifers, they'll have like 20 years in prison and they'll move around that prison and people will know what they're like. They'll know if they pay their debts. They'll know, you know, the guy had no scars on his face. He seemed cool. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm thinking about it in my cell. Now, like I say, I was bullied as a kid, like a lot. And I've always got that sort of feeling, you know, like he's taking the piss out of me. He thinks I'm an idiot. They're laughing at me. I get that in my head. And that voice there, it takes me to a place, just takes me somewhere else. So in the morning, I've got a plan. I'm getting two of the guys. Shout out to my pal, Richie. Yeah, Richie Islington. And my other pal, I won't mention his name. And I met both of them guys in jail. And I've got a funny story about Richie. I'll tell you about that afterwards. And I'm like, boys, this guy's tried to rob me. I remember I give everyone ash. Like, I just like to be high with people. I like, you know what I'm saying? I'm giving everyone ash. I'm like, I'm going to go and get this geezer. He said he thinks he's going to give me the phone. After he gives me the phone, I'm going to batter him. That was the plan, you know? So, yeah. So I go down and he's on the 2s landing. I'm on the 4s. So I get the boys. Richie's young at that time. He's like 22. My other pal's young as well. He's like 24. And then, remember, this guy's a lifer, you know, so he's been in jail years, he's done his bits, he's not an idiot. And thinking back now, I would have left it because I'm messing with someone's freedom. But now, at the time, I was furious. I felt like I'd been mugged off and he's trying to rob me. So I go in the cell, but he knows my energy. He's like, what's happening, mate? I'm like, yeah, get all these, because he had a few people saying goodbye to him. I'm like, get all these out of the cell now, yeah? I'm like, what, are you trying to rob me? I'm winding myself up. I've wound myself up the whole night, yeah? In my head, I'm going to batter him, do my thing, rare. In my head, yeah? So I'm like, yeah, taking the piss. I swung for him. The geezer was like a boxer or something. The geezer ducked, went, boom. I've never had my jaw broken before, but you know when something's up. I was punched so hard, yeah. He punched one punch, you know, punched me so hard here, yeah. My jaw was like click, almost like a sound, but you feel it, you don't hear it. And I'm like, yeah, that was a broken jaw. So now I'm not trying to box with this guy because he's a boxer. I'm not. We're in a cell, so I'll grab him. I overpower him, fling him on the bed. Yeah. Now I'm trying to fight him, and I'm like, you know what? Forget this. Give me the phone. Took the phone because he said he was going to give me the phone anyway. But I knew my jaw was in pain. And remember, people, I've got not guilty. I'm in prison for something I did not do. And this whole time is leading up to a trial where I've got to talk about my innocence. A month before my trial, my jaw's broke and wired shut now. Yeah. And I'm like, I've been planning this for 5 months. My whole case, my whole freedom. My minimum sentence is 12 years if I get found guilty for something I didn't do. So I'm like, no way. And anyway, so I'm kind of a bit forward. So I go to the officers. I'm like, my jaw really hurts. They're like, what happened, Lazar? I'm like, nothing, man. I just bloody woke up, fell out of bed and blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, you fell out of bed, yeah? And yeah, they're like, look, doesn't look too bad. I went to see a doctor. That's fine. I go to education now. I was with that guy I spoke to earlier, the high profile guy. Me, him, and a couple others. And we're in there and we're talking. Colours, the rapper, there's a few of us, kind of like a few celebs in there as well. And my jaw is getting bigger and bigger. And I'm not really noticing it, but I'm just realizing it's harder to open my mouth more. I'm a talker, you can see. I talk. And I'm like, yeah. No, it's hard. I'm like, and I just see someone look at me like, bro, you need to go to the doctor. My jaw had got big in it. So I got to the doctor, like, yeah, it's broke. And even when your jaw's broke, they still got to book in your appointment. It still takes about a week. So now I'm thinking 3 weeks for my thingy. Anyway, I got it all sorted just before my trial, which was, thank God, which I had my jaw wired and I couldn't even, oh my God, I couldn't even eat. Your boy loves to eat, people. I couldn't even eat properly. It was the worst time. Oh my God. And sometimes you go to talk, like wake up and yawn or, yeah, having your jaw broke was horrible. And my jaw broke was horrible. And I had it in prison and I was in a bloody cell where there was no windows. So it's like air vents and like you just, and it's a form of torture. It really is. If you know about the air vents in prison, like they get as hot as ovens. They really do, man.
If you think if you're going to get sick in prison or have an accident and you're going to get to see a doctor like that, you're in a dream world.
I had 2 weeks of shattered teeth before I got out of prison. 2 weeks before I see a dentist. Do you know what they said to me? You have to eat like this. I remember they would bring the food to my cell. It wasn't even soft food. They would, so I'd have to cut it up and I'd have to go out, open my mouth and try and put the food at the back of my mouth and chew with these teeth because I had 2 smashed front teeth with nerve endings. And because I wasn't given names, because I was new to the prison, I'd just been kicked out of the last prison for drug dealing. They're like, this guy's a problem. And yeah, they left me for 2 weeks and it was horrible. It's horrible. So yeah, don't be expecting any sort of A&E treatment.